Of the Masters Tournament is sponsored by Gerald Jones Audi, Hamricks, Southern Industries, and Queensboro National Bank and Trust.
From the station that's on your side, News 12, First at 4 continues.
The hours to practice are winding down. Tomorrow the game is real and the shots count. This year has been different in a lot of ways.
But on this last day of this practice round, one thing that was the same, Augusta National Chairman Fred Ridley's news conference, and our News 12's Laura Warren was there.
Golfers would normally be out here today letting their hair down a little bit, playing the par 3 tournament with their kids, but that's one tradition we're going to have to wait until next April to welcome back. But another Wednesday tradition did happen, and that is the chairman's press conference. Chairman Fred Ridley announcing some changes to the viewing experience. They have a new camera over at hole 12 this year to give you even better views of Amen Corner from home, and those beautiful drone shots we came to know and love in November, those will be back. He also announced a new video game to look forward to for those 358 days out of the year that we don't have Masters coverage.
We believe the attention to detail surrounding the course and our traditions will be world class and will provide new and current fans around the globe with a fun and interactive way to look at Augusta National.
He says the road to the Masters is scheduled to release ahead of the tournament next year, and all the profits will go to the Masters Tournament Foundation to help continue to grow the game, to keep the next generation interested in golf. People like John Garrett, who stepped back on the course for the first time today since he was 12 years old.
It just continues to get better every year, and really this year with them having just played a couple months ago, that is still in great condition. That you can just tell the hard work that they put in. Chairman Ridley himself says the course is in as good a shape as he's ever seen it. The azaleas and dogwoods are blooming, and in short, we are ready to go. Reporting from Augusta National, I'm Laura Warren.
It is beautiful. Off the course, though, the big story today, of course, the release of the cause of Tiger Woods' crash. The LA County Sheriff says Tiger was going nearly twice the speed limit when he lost control, went airborne, and hit a tree. It's been nearly 2 months since that crash. Tiger isn't at Augusta National this week. His absence especially felt last night at the Champions Dinner. He tweeted this afternoon, though, quoting here, "I will continue to focus on my recovery and family and thank everyone for the overwhelming support and encouragement I've received throughout this very difficult time."
Time now for a look outside as we check the weather. We have had
Matt Kuchar would be very happy to see.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Not to mention Strafaci's grandfather, I believe, played in the Masters.
He did, yep, back in 1938. And actually, fun fact about that, too, ended up pulling out of that tournament to go play in another. So it just shows how much the Masters has actually grown since really it came into itself.
No doubt about it, Mike. Thanks so much.
Boycotts for major Georgia companies are being delayed at least until next Tuesday. But the debate over Georgia's voting bill is still heating up. Organizers are planning a protest outside of Augusta National this week.
But with the National owning so much land around the course now, we don't know exactly where those protesters can legally demonstrate. Details are still being ironed out, but the Sheriff's Office says they are aware, and we're going to keep you updated on those plans as they unfold. Activists are demanding companies like Coke, Delta Airlines publicly oppose Georgia's voting bill. They want them to speak out against similar bills nationwide. They also want them to publicly support the federal voting bill and support litigation against Georgia's voting bill.
Georgia Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan speaking out today about the voting law. He says the language of the bill is being twisted by extremists in both parties. He also thinks former President Donald Trump is fanning the flames from the far right.
We've lost 2 U.S. Senate seats as a Republican. We've lost the White House. We've lost the All-Star game. Look, we need to pick up the pieces here and move on. We need to turn the page. You've heard me talk about GOP 2.0 as a Republican. It's time to do it. And I think Donald Trump now speaks more and more for the outside right fringes than he does for mainstream Republicans.
Jeff Duncan will have some competition next election. Democrat Eric Allen announced his campaign for lieutenant governor. Right now, Allen serves as the state representative for Georgia's 40th district. That's just outside of Atlanta. Allen says we have spent the last 40 days pushing Georgia back 40 years, adding it's time to have a different narrative, and people need someone who can express the value of everyday Georgians.
Georgia, meanwhile, set to lift several restrictions, including the ban on large gatherings starting tomorrow.
Large-scale events are already on the way as city leaders approve the first ever James Brown block party. Today, paperwork is going to the sheriff's office to, hopefully, the group say, legalize the plans. Our Celeste Springer live on James Brown Boulevard, where organizers hope to have that party. Celeste, what are you hearing out there today?
Well, the event is supposed to start here on Broad Street and head all the way down this way towards Jones Street where that last stoplight is. And it's all for James Brown's birthday. The commission already voted yes on the party, but for right now it's in Sheriff Roundtree's hands to make sure that this street can be closed. Organizers say masks and social distancing will be required for partygoers as they get down with some live music. This is all coming after Governor Kemp lifted certain COVID restrictions. Starting tomorrow, large gatherings will be allowed and social distancing and masks in bars and restaurants won't be mandated by the state. Commissioner Jordan Johnson says he doesn't support opening fully back up, but he believes this could be done in a way that's safe for everyone.
That's on the forefront of everyone's mind, making sure that once this event does take place, that there are proper sanitation stations in place, that proper CDC guidelines are still being adhered to as far as social distancing, the amount of people who can be in the area at a time.
And coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll hear from one commissioner who voted no on the party. In her eyes, it all comes down to a matter of double standards.
The debate will continue about this until COVID is a thing of the past. The CDC announced today the most common form of COVID in the U.S. is actually the variant found in Britain. That strain easier to pass to others. It's also more infectious to younger Americans.
Right. The CDC director says recent surges are tied to youth sports and daycare centers. Right now, the U.S. leads the world with more than 30 million cases and more than 555,000 deaths.
Great news if you haven't gotten your stimulus check and are on any kind of federal benefits. Those checks should hit your account today. Now, this includes people on Social Security, survivor or disability, and even railroad retirement. The IRS also says the Get My Payment tool is updated. The next group they're waiting on is the VA beneficiaries. They say you should get those by mid-April.
Governor Henry McMaster facing a lawsuit after ordering all South Carolina state employees back to the office. A College of Charleston employee and the American Civil Liberties Union Foundation of South Carolina are the duo behind the lawsuit. They argue a return to full-time in-person duties exposes families to COVID-19 unnecessarily. They say non-essential employees have worked from home for more than a year with no issues.
South Carolina's Attorney General is speaking out today.
Advocacy centers. Think about that for a minute. Those are just the kids that made it to the radar.
And the worry are the ones that slip through the cracks. One group taking matters into their own hands, Bikers Against Child Abuse, is an international organization helping kids who suffer from abuse. They act as a support team for families during tough times and will even appear in court for support. They say this year has been tougher with kids stuck at home and red flags flying under the radar, which means fewer calls, but not necessarily not as much abuse.
I joined because I have a little girl myself, and I know how to keep her safe, and I know what to look for. But there's a lot of kids out there that don't have somebody looking out for them, or don't have enough people looking out for them.
Members of BACA, as they're called, say they expect to see more calls this year. More courts are opening back up, and inactive cases are starting to pop back up again.
Well, we all know pimento cheese is a Masters Week staple, but it wasn't always that way. What goes into making a patron favorite? Coming up.
And we have seen beautiful conditions all week long, but rain chances now starting to go up as we head later into the week. Your first alert forecast is next. All the way through the weekend and early next week, back to sunshine and highs in the 80s.
Riley, thanks. Hard to believe Wednesday is already here. Masters Week in full swing. And while it's not what we're used to, the players and patrons are getting a little bit of a taste of normalcy. But what is Masters Week without the famous pimento cheese?
It really doesn't exist. I think it is the taste of the Masters.
I've had one so far this week.
One.
How about you?
Actually, I haven't had any yet.
I've got some catching up to do, and so do you.
Yeah, I haven't had any yet. I've been working. I'm gonna have to, for real. But our Brianna Collier went inside one local business that's been making this Masters staple for years. Take a look.
All right.
Havard Usry and his family have been in business since 1948. And one thing's for sure, like many, if you ask him what makes Masters Week so special, well, it may be the players everyone looks forward to, the azaleas in full bloom, or simply put, pimento cheese.
And I think it's just a really nice, spreadable, cold cheese, and after you get done playing a hot day of golf, it's good, refreshing food to have.
So who would have ever thought golf and cheese went together.
It's such a quirky thing that it's here and it's in the South and such a staple, and that it's become over the years.
Well, that's a question even Havard.
I believe it came about in New York, and that's cream cheese came from actual pimento cheese, because they used to soften the cheddar cheese to where they could spread it on a piece of bread or spread it on a bagel of some sort.
Is still trying to figure out.
And then obviously pimento is a Spanish pepper, and the Spanish started canning those and sending them over, which came through New York. How it got to the South and to be so popular, I have no idea.
So how is it made?
Shredded cheddar,
A little bit of this,
mayonnaise,
and a little bit of that.
and then canned pimentos. So those are your three main items, and then you're obviously going to spin it any way you want to.
With a million different ways to eat it.
You could do pimento cheese deviled eggs. You could do pimento cheese like breakfast biscuits.
And it's a tradition that keeps people coming back for more. And of course, I had to see what the hype was all about.
Cheers.
They couldn't do that. They didn't have somebody. It's actually really good.
I like it.
Okay, we admit it. First and Four just swerved hard into the Food Network
Yes.
for a couple of minutes right then. But Havard says typically they go through 4 to 6 gallons a week of pimento cheese on a regular basis. But Masters Week is right on par so far with that number as well.
Yeah, he says it's best if it's refrigerated for at least 24 hours after you make it. He also says they cater during Masters Week, but I'm going to tell you a little secret. The best way to have pimento cheese, I'm serious,
Inside scoop.
is on an English muffin. I promise, eat it on an English muffin.
Do you toast the muffin?
Yes.
Okay.
Toasted muffin, cold pimento cheese, spread on an English muffin. Those little nooks and crannies are perfect. I promise you.
Can we go now and try it?
I know.
Or do we have to sit?
Let's ditch the rest of this. I'm joking. Totally joking.
Pimento cheese.
Yes. Aiken County hometown favorite Kevin Kisner sat down with the Aiken Chamber of Commerce to talk about his journey. Kisner says there was a time when he actually wasn't sure if golf was his path. He even took a construction job with his dad before finding success on the tour. Now he's gearing up for a run to be a Masters champion, reflecting on his first time at Augusta National.
Growing up, being the mecca of our area, sports-wise, it was very surreal to be able to actually compete in the Masters. I grew up, spring break is the Masters week, going to the Masters as a young child, borrowing somebody's ticket that had already been in the afternoon, racing over there late in the day, trying to see as much as I could. And there I was on the other side with people coming to watch me play.
And he is out there with a bunch of dogs this week. His best finish at Augusta National was in 2019, where he tied for 21st. He tees off at 9:30 in the morning, and we wish him the best.
Yeah, we do. Hit him hard. Well, when you were 7 years old, like most of us, maybe you played outside a lot, watched cartoons. We met a 7-year-old who's an author, a singer, and so much more. Her story coming up.
Wherever you go.
At just 7 years old, this little girl from Blakely, Georgia, has an entire day dedicated to her by the city.
And it is well deserved, as she has already written a book, written a song, and starred in her very own music video. And if that's not enough, she's also a community activist. Kiera Hood gives us her story.
A singer, a published coloring book author, and now she has her own day in the city of Blakely. Brianna Yana Sealy is hoping to inspire kids around the world.
Her mission and her ideas totally blow me away.
Her godmother and aunt, Mia Pittman, full of excitement as she witnesses all the many things that Yana has accomplished at such a young age.
I don't have a day named after me, but my 7-year-old goddaughter does. And I mean, that is just an amazing, amazing, amazing feeling.
Yana wrote her first book when she was just 6 years old. Another big accomplishment, distributing food throughout her community. Yana says she wants everyone, especially young girls like her, to know their worth.
They can do anything they put their mind to.
And with her family supporting her,
1, 2, 3,
she is hoping to create her own doll and so many more things in the future.
Yeah, she's just getting started.
Yeah. I mean, like, she's making me feel like I need to catch up on some
Let's do
things.
some catching up.
Yeah.
We're back after a quick break.